Ohio Sakai, good morning, New World. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host, Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to the first episode of Dr. Stone New World, aka Season 3, if you prefer to call it that. So last week we reacted to the Ryusui special, which is a important introduction to this season. I don't know why they chose to do it this way, to where it's like that was like the continuation of where season 2 of where Stone Wars left off, and instead of introducing Ryusui at the beginning of this season. I don't know why they chose to do it this way, but they did it this way. And so it's like it's very clear that the special is integral to continuing on with the series. And I'm fine with that. I have no issue with that. It was really good. It was enjoyable. Ryusui is a pretty interesting character so far. And yeah, it really set things up. We got a bunch of new inventions. We got the hot air balloon going. And we are preparing the ship to go on our cross-sea journey. So it's going to be interesting to see where this continues to go. We're working on, like, getting everything set. Like, we're trying to, save Tsukasa and everything. But we have to learn more so we can, petrify him in the first place. We have to petrify him so that we can unpetrify him. We'll figure it out, I'm sure. That's going to be interesting, though, to figure that out. So, yeah, I think we're going to be getting more into, like... I feel like with what we're trying to do here, we're going to be getting more into the meat of the story. Like, we've been, like, doing all of this great setup, all this great, like, rivalry with Tsukasa and his faction. But now we're going to, like, really be getting into the meat of the lore and everything more so than we had before. Especially in regards to how the petrification happened in the first place. Which is obviously the biggest question of this series. I don't know if we're going to find out the truth of it right away, but we're going to at least learn some stuff, for sure. We might even learn some more stuff in relation to Senku's father and everything, and that entire group. Because, like, a couple of them, I want to say his name was Yakov, and his wife, didn't they leave on a boat and just never return? Because they were going to, like, go to try to find help or something, and they just never came back? Or am I mistaken about that? But either way, like I said, I'm very, very curious to see where this goes moving forward. I feel like there's going to be a lot of great stuff. And I feel like we're going to learn just a lot more. We might even see other characters. It's possible, like, we might see new people across the sea who also just woke up because of bat guano, or hell, there might even be another way to depetrify. We might find out. I don't know. Or there might just be, other people living in the current world who, like, in a way, descended from the original astronauts who came back as well. Because, I mean, think about it. If the two did escape and they just never came back, like I believe they did, they could have an entire other group of people out there. And they could have, like, had entire other, like, families and descendants who could have been raised elsewhere and stuff. Who knows? Who knows? But I guess we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see where it goes from here and just, I guess, hope for the best. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes, especially with it being called New World. So I'd say we should just get into this and see what it has in store for us. So let's get going.
Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out.
And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So we got farming. Something that honestly should have been a thing long before. Like, it's one thing to have, like, the citizens, the villagers of Ishigami Village not knowing, like, exactly how to farm and everything. I can see that being lost over time. But, like, I'm really surprised Senku hasn't, like, integrated that in quicker. Like, that feels like something that would be, like, an early, like, almost first step kind of thing. Food is so important to survival that it just seems obvious. Like, yeah, at first they didn't have, like, a big enough group to really need it. The Kingdom of Science, Ishigami Village, all of that was, like, small enough to where it's like, okay, they were surviving. And with Senku introducing the likes of, like, ramen and whatnot, they were able to make it work. But it does make sense that with Tsukasa's faction now on their side, they would need more. And also, having bread does also help with the fact that, you know, they need preserved foods to bring with them. So yeah, it makes sense to introduce it at this part, but again, I feel like farming should have been like one of the top priorities, you know? Either way, we got this episode was pretty much focused almost entirely around that, along with Ryusui getting to like learn more about everything that Senku had been doing, learn about Ishigami Village. And it also shows a softer side to him. It shows that while he is greedy, he is also, at the exact same time, selfless. He cares about people. He wants everything in the world. And he wants to use it, not just for himself, but to help others too. And I mentioned in the reaction, he reminds me of Greed from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and I mean that with exceptional praise. Greed is one of the best characters in FMA. But Greed was, like, at first very selfish and self-centered with his greed. Well, actually, it depends. Which Greed are we talking about? The first Greed was more of what we're seeing Ryusui as being here. You know, actually caring about other people and wanting to use greed in order to help them as well. Because as part of wanting everything, Greed also wanted friends. He also wanted, you know, to have people he cared for. And part of his greed was to make sure that they were taken care of. And so that's what we're seeing with Ryusui here. Then we had the second Greed, who at first was more self-centered. He didn't have any of the memories, didn't have any of the friends and whatnot at first. But as he went along and as he interacted with Ed and Al and others, he eventually, and even just interacted with Ling inside of their shared consciousness, he started to change and develop and grow. And that's what led to his self-sacrifice in the end. It was a phenomenal character arc that really showed where he was going. But Ryusui is definitely more like the original Greed, I would say. And what the second Greed ended up becoming by the end. And again, massive compliment there. So I'm liking Ryusui right off the bat. But On top of finding all the wheat and everything, we also find goats, which can also lead to some good food there. You can definitely preserve meat, so that would be helpful for their journey too. But while the farming in this focused mostly on, wheat and everything, they do need to learn to farm animals too. Like if they could find cows, they could have milk, which could lead to cheese and so many other things. They could have, goats, which, and cows can give them meat. And if they can find all kinds of animals, they can just really start raising them. And that would give them a lot more food for the future. That would be so important, such a big deal. So, yeah, I really feel like they are on the cusp of really like expanding things. And I think that's fantastic. I think that's something that they need to do. Even if, I mean, honestly, especially if a good portion of them are going to be going across the sea. The ones who are going to be staying back need to be able to take care of themselves, need to be able to fend for themselves without the likes of Senku and them there helping. Because like Chrome's going to go with them, Kohaku's going to go with them. And so it's like, you have to, those are like some of the big people of their group, of the Kingdom of Science. And so they need to have a way to, take care of themselves here. They have to have a way to handle things at the home base. And seeing like Taiju, because of his, insane work ethic and stamina and whatnot, being made the king of farming and everything is really fun too. And it just makes sense. Also, he remembered how to use the ground up shells, which was a really nice touch to help the plants, the wheat, grow even faster and healthier. Like that also shows that while he is not the smartest dude, he does learn and he can retain information. We see Magma and Yo continuing to compete with each other and work together to try and farm as well. And again, manipulating them into helping and all. But yeah, it's like this episode was pretty focused. And I think that's good for a first episode of the season. I think that leads to it being, very straightforward. But it makes it very clear right away that you definitely needed to see the special to understand what's happening here, because they didn't recap you pretty much at all. There was one shot that showed something that happened in the special, and it was like just one little flashback of them like riding the hot air balloon through the storm, and that's it. So you really can't just go into this expecting to be able to catch up, expecting to be able to understand without having seen the special. It is absolutely required viewing. Which again, I have no issue against. I like the special. It's just the length of 2 episodes, so hey, no issue there. Yeah, there's not really too much else to go on with this one. Like, they're making progress on the boat, but it's like otherwise it's a pretty simple, straightforward first episode. The new opening, I would say, is not as good as the first opening from season 1. It's not as good as Stone Wars opening, and it's not as good as the Ryusui special opening, which was, just a newer version of Good Morning World. So it's definitely one of the weaker openings of this show so far, but that's by no means to say that it's bad. And this is based off of initial impression, mind you, to keep in mind. But it's not. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not as good as the others. It doesn't have like these like really cool bombastic sounds or moments. Like with the first opening and the Ryusui opening, obviously you have the Good Morning World part of the song, the beginning of it, Ohio Sakai Good Morning World, which is iconic. And then the sound of the song is just great in itself. But then the Ryusui one also has the snap moment, fading from Ryusui to Senku doing the snap, which is just an iconic moment in the opening. And then you have the Stone Wars opening that has like some great moments too, most notably the part near the end where Gen is like singing into the microphone pretending to be Lillian. It's like that moment is just so good. It just sparks joy, you know? I don't know how else to describe it. It's just very, very good. But like the second opening of season 1 and this opening don't really have moments like that for me. They don't really do anything special. I actually like the ending theme for this for New World better. And mind you, there's a second core for New World, so that opening might be better for me. But yeah, I actually like this first ending for New World better than the opening. I think it's more interesting and unique and has more of like the kind of vibe we got from like the first and the third opening of, well, the first, third, and fourth opening of Dr. Stone. So maybe that's just me. I don't know. But yeah, this is one of the weaker ones for me. But there are a lot of new characters being shown in it. Some of them villains. One of them, at least, seeming like maybe a good guy. So I'm very curious to see where they come in. Are they just other people who have woken up? Are they descendants of people who had woken up in the past? Are they descendants of the astronauts? We don't know. We don't know what their deal is compared to everything else. But I'm very curious to find out. I'm very interested to see what's up with these new characters that we're going to see in the new world. South America, I guess. So, yeah. Provided they get to actually go to South America. Though with Ryusui, I assume the sailing and the navigation will be good. But yeah, either way, this was still a strong start. I'm very curious to see what happens in this season. And hopefully by the end of it, we'll be able to revive Tsukasa. But that also means finding out at least some of the truth behind the petrification, which is kind of one of the main goals right now. So, yeah. We'll see how it goes. But tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this first episode of Dr. Stone New World? And as always, thank you all so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.